Hi everybody, today's video we're going to talk about the art of restarting and how to take minimal old life into your new life. Since the age of 18, I have been moving and traveling and restarting my life multiple times. I've lived in over 5 different states. Something I've learned from all of my traveling and restarting is that every time you restart, you are welcoming a new self. You are opening a door to the possibility of a new life. You are in control of what you bring from your old life into your new life. What you can't control is how everybody's going to perceive you. They're always going to expect the old version of you to arrive. But when you're constantly evolving your personality, eventually people understand that they're always going to be meeting a new you next time they see you. And it becomes a cycle. And the people that truly love you will always accept every version of yourself that you present to them. If somebody is mad about you wanting new life for yourself, it's because they're currently benefiting off of your current life. And they're scared that they will lose access to you in your new life. And they will no longer have the benefit of using you to their advantage. You are now welcoming your advantage for yourself. When restarting, you have to reflect on who you are as a person right now. This is where the shadow work comes in. Everybody thinks shadow work is bad and evil, but really shadow work is understanding the subconscious levels of things of yourself that you try to hide because you don't necessarily feel secure with them. When you dive into your shadow work, you are being vulnerable to yourself. You're also opening the door to self-evolution and to understanding why you have those insecurities and how you can change your thought process on insecurities and use them to your advantage in your new life. It's important to always remind yourself that you have to have a humble heart. But because you have a humble heart, that does not mean you have to be everybody's floor mat that they walk in and wipe their dirty shoes on. You are allowed to be selective with who is going with you into your new life. You're allowed to be selective of the habits that you want to join you in your new life and how you want to be presented to yourself first. You want to accept your new self personally first, and you want to understand that the new life is something that's going to help you grow. Even if it comes with difficulty when opening the door, even if the room that you open the door that was hard to open is disastrous, you have the power to clean it up. When restarting your new life, you will have to leave behind certain individuals. In past videos, I've talked about how hard it is sometimes to leave behind people because you just love them so much. And it causes guilt because you feel like your evolution is leaving behind individuals when really your evolution is just see you later. So welcoming for other people to open themselves to themselves and evolve in ways that you are evolving. But it doesn't mean that you can't come back and circle back to them and help them when you're in a more structured being that has boundaries, that understands that having a humble heart means you help individuals, but not at the cost of destruction of your new life. You have fought very hard for your new life. Each life is fought for hardly. When restarting into your new life, it is important to understand who you want to be. It's important to understand the habits of the person that you want to be has. It's important to understand the habits of the person that you want to be doesn't do. When redirecting your life into a new lifestyle, you want to bring as minimal of your old life that you possibly can into your new life. A total restart costs a lot of money, a lot of energy, and a lot of resources. So it's important to give yourself grace and knowing that it's going to take time when becoming the new person that you want to be, entering the new lifestyle that you want to have. It's also important to understand that it's not you thinking highly of yourself that you're better than everybody, but it's you thinking highly of yourself that you're deserving of a better life from yourself. You deserve to have more structure, more discipline, more abundance in your life. You deserve those things. Even if nobody showed you how. That's my purpose of these videos, to encourage you to want to dive deeper into expanding yourself, to want to dive deeper in becoming somebody new, to want to dive deeper into having deep thoughts. I would like to challenge people to want better for themselves, not because they are better than anybody, because having a humble heart is very important to me, especially a person like me who's been very humbled by God. No man can humble you better than God can. Every restart in my life has started, obviously, from beginner level. I always have tried to bring minimal old life into my new life, but I didn't always understand that concept. So constantly for a while, each new life, I was dragging around a lot of things that I no longer needed, but subconsciously thought I needed, like clothes I was never going to wear again, objects I was never going to touch again, but I was packing in my car and bringing me constantly to all these different states and cities, when really I was just exerting extra energy I could have been saving for myself, space in my car I could have had saved for myself, rather than jam-packing my car full of everything I absolutely did not need. The amount of things I traveled cross-country with is insane that I could have just left behind. I could have had more breathing space in my car as I'm traveling to my new life. And I learned from that experience, though, because when you open up space in your life for new things, you're more likely obligated to accept them into your life, versus if you already had a full life, you're going to kind of reject the new things and habits, that you're going to reject the new things and habits because you have no space. You're at full capacity of the things that you can take with you, that you can handle, and that you can process in your life. If you hoard your old life, your new life is never going to have space to walk in. You have to create space. You have to take with you the minimal of things that you can. It's important to keep continuously outgrowing your old self. It's important every year to look back on your life and not have the same year after year. Something I always find interesting is my memories. My memories will pop up, and my life is usually completely different than than what I was doing the year before. Now, sometimes I live in the same spot because I really used to be queen at packing my car and leaving and going to a different state, into a different city, and just starting new. Like, I was literally known for that for so long. Until I got married. And even then, my husband has taken on my crazy, adventurous, wild side. And every time I say, let's try this. And we've lived in 3 states total together, but we've traveled cross country, literally from Texas to Florida to New York, from New York to Texas in one Christmas. I can't even remember the amount of miles we put on our car for that Christmas trip, but we put thousands of miles on our car. And that's not normal person activities. I don't achieve my life by trying to be the average person. I achieve my life by reaching the standards of what I consider being a life worth living. My life might be a little extravagant for other people's. The risks I take might be a little too risky for others to want to consider taking. When I go all in, I am literally all in on the table. Sometimes when entering a new life, it doesn't go exactly as planned, but that's why it's important to have principles of yourself that you want to maintain. For me, I want to maintain a stewardship for my children, my husband, myself, and for my Savior. Me and my husband, in the early years of our marriage, decided that I would become a stay-at-home mom when we had children. That has been very hard to maintain while we traveled and moved and tried to find our place with where we want to settle our family and grow deeper roots in. I've had to sacrifice things to be able to stay a stay-at-home mom. There were times where I've had to go get a job, but I worked at a daycare, so I brought my child with me. So it still kind of kept the structure of me being a stay-at-home mom where I was with my child, but we weren't exactly just at home. Now, I didn't make a lot of money off of my job because so much of it went back into the daycare, but I still am grateful for that experience. It got me out of the house, it got me around other individuals, other moms, other kids my child's age, so I can understand where my child was on the spectrum of children. And I don't regret ever having to step outside of what I considered to be a stay-at-home mom. Today, it definitely wouldn't be feasible for me to go out and work at a daycare because of the amount of gas I would have to pay for weekly, or let's just say monthly. The amount of gas I would be paying for monthly, the wear and tear on the vehicle, and the daycare bill. It just ultimately would not add up to being worth me having a job. I get to enjoy my slow mornings with my children. I get to enjoy being home and in an atmosphere that I've created for my children and myself and my husband. And I just really like that. It was a huge mental leap to want to stay home because we are so programmed to think that everybody needs a 9 to 5 job. You need to have a retirement plan set up. You need to have all of these worldly check mark boxes, a college degree, and all of these things that really just keep you in a debt cycle, rat race chasing person. I am designing a life that exits you out of the rat race in many different forms than just literally the 9 to 5. As I build my brand, I am in the works of building courses for you to be able to buy and apply to your life in a manner that fits your timing, that you can manage without feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. It's very important to me to welcome a new life to you that doesn't feel overwhelming, exhausting, and burn you out in the end. I want you to gracefully kind of just mold this person that you want to be, and take your time. The clay's not going to dry out, and even if it does, you just add a little water to it, keep it going, and eventually when you have your perfect shape, I will provide a kiln for you to put your shape in and for it to heat up and all that stuff. There have been many times where I didn't see objects for them being brand new. I had to use my imagination and create objects that were just functioning and they felt nice to look at versus just like feeling like you have trash for items, because I really, 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 really love to repurpose things. And repurposing things means just using the best of what you have. So every time I would buy a diaper box, I honestly saved up a couple and I would like put cloth on the around it, and I would use them for bins because cloth is cheaper than going in on all of these bins, especially when you're in a time of life when you're constantly moving the way I was moving. And I wasn't just like moving town to town, I was moving from state to state. And so you can't just bring all of these things with you because it costs money and time. You have to pack it in the U-Haul, you have to pay for the U-Haul, and you have to tow that U-Haul, which ends up costing you more gas, more wear and tear on your car, and just overall more, and more. So I told myself that I could still have nice things but not spend $1 million on it, okay? Diapers were like, I would take my $35 diaper boxes, and while everybody else is ripping up their boxes, I just kind of taped the folds up on the corners, and then I put cloth on the outside, and I taped the bottom, and I even taped the top around so it looked like a black perimeter. And it was good enough for me. Other people, might have seen it as whatever, but for me, that it was good enough for me. I like building a quiet, luxurious life that doesn't cost a lot of money. When people think of luxurious, they think of money. They think of high dollars. Like, you could still have a luxurious life and it doesn't have to cost you literally millions of dollars. You just have to utilize the things that you already have and you're spending money on and are sitting around and transform them into items that you could use in your life. So for me, I wanted bins. So I found a way to make bins in a luxurious way that didn't cost me millions of dollars. and also save me time later on, because you have to keep your future self in your decisions that you make today. So when I was deciding things, how is this going to affect my future self? How is this going to affect my unpredictable, life changing alterations that I keep doing? It's hard to plan a life when you have no idea where you're going. You just know you're looking for a spot for your family to settle into. Not a lot of people have to deal with that kind of thinking process the way I do, because they are already structured in a setting where they want to be planted. I didn't have that luxury in life. But that doesn't mean that you're less than, or I'm less than, or you're more than, or I'm more than. It just means we live different lives. And everybody lives different lives, and there's millions of ways to live a different life. I just like to open a door for your subconscious to think deeply about change and about wanting different for yourself, and about welcoming new lifestyles and welcoming new personalities or new habits into your life. I just want you to know that your new life is always going to cost you your old life. And that's okay. It's just a give and take. Life is about give and take. You can't have a life of just always giving or always taking. There literally has to be a balance of give and take, give and take. Restarting is going to seem scary because it's new, it's uncertain, and you're not sure exactly what's going to happen. You don't know if your new choices are going to be better than your current choices, and it feels scary. I just want you to know, if it feels scary, that's usually your nervous system keeping you from growth. Your nervous system loves comfort. And when becoming a new person, you're going to have to step outside of your comfort zones, because you're becoming a new person with new habits and new ideas and new outcomes. If you feel scared to do something and it's not a bad thing to do and it doesn't have malicious underlinings to it, I say do it. Before we bought our house, we were so excited, so excited, so excited. And then when our offer got accepted, when it was time to sign the paperwork, we got scared. We were like, oh, it's real. It's happening. This is a 30-year mortgage. This is us signing a stack of paperwork. This is a legal document. This is serious. My husband was like, I don't know if we should do this. And me, because I already welcomed 12 different lives before I entered life with my husband and he joined my crazy life train, I was like, we're doing this. Like, we're literally doing this. We did all the research. We found a realtor. We went and looked at all these houses. Our credit scores we've been working on. We've done all of these things. We're buying a house. Like, we're buying it. And if we don't like it or whatever, we'll figure it out then. But right now, it's time to sign the paperwork. So we're signing. We're buying this house. And he was like, okay. Like, he didn't fight me because he knows that I'm more welcoming to the new, and I'm a little bit risk-taking person. And usually my risks taking come out good. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying I haven't experienced failure. But you have to take risks if you want something new for yourself. And I understand that deeply. And he knew I understood that, so we bought the house. When we decided, we don't really want the house anymore, we just sold the house. No matter what challenges you face, I just want you to know that you can overcome anything. You could research anything. There's different things you could do to build your confidence up in wanting to try new. Research is a huge portion of welcoming new into your life, because it's not that you're going to understand totally what you're stepping into, but if you have at least even just surface level of a scratch of what the outcome of the life that you want to be building is like, you'll feel a little bit more comfortable to want to dive into it. And I really recommend researching things, because you might not understand them fully. And with your research, you'll see the bigger picture of the things that you're missing and understand better that if it's a good thing to want to dive into or if it's a bad thing to want to dive into. Because sometimes our growth is a little bit different than we imagine it to be. Sometimes we're trying to grow in an aspect of this one thing, and if we take this decision over here, it's not going to bring us here. So it's important to do research and make sure the things that you want to do line up with the habits and the lifestyle that you want to create for yourself. It's exciting welcoming new, but don't get caught up in just welcoming the new. Please, please, please understand that new has responsibilities with it. We wanted a house, so we looked at houses, but we didn't just sign and put an offer in on the first house we saw. We visualized our future selves living in the homes that we looked at, and the furniture we could be having, and where our kids would play, and just things like that. You have to just like use your imagination to kind of just envision what you would be like in that setting. And then sometimes, I mean, you're not going to find like if you're not building it from scratch, like you're going to have some things that you're settling for, but it still matches where you're trying to go with your life. When we finally did find a house that we liked, it was perfect for what we wanted, but eventually we just outgrew it, and that's okay. You just find the steps to close that chapter of your life and welcome a new chapter. And that's what we did. And we've done that many times. And you can too. Restarting your life is scary, but it's even more scary if you stay in it. Envision what staying and settling is going to look like for your future self. Eventually, resentment and anger and bitterness is going to grow inside of you, and it's going to grow inside of you and reflect outside of you. You're going to become this ugly, bitter person that nobody's going to want to be around. I've been and seen that happen. It's not that I judge other people's life, but I understand why they are where they are at and the choices that got them where they are. So I take that as life lessons of what not to do. Not that I think low of those people. I actually really appreciate those life lessons that they taught me, not knowingly, but that I was able to tune in on and understand on my own self, because I am a deep thinker. I don't just see a tree. I see the roots that are underneath the tree, grounding it and sucking up the water to feed the leaves and grow new branches. And a tree has to dead branches fall and new branches grow. And I use that visually to understand my own life and understand what life is actually about. Because if you look around, there's so many lessons in nature that can apply to human beings. It's almost like somebody created everything with a purpose. So it's important that we live a life purposefully. If you're just out here just living life for day by day, not planning anything for your future self, you're not going to collect a lot of items that are worth having. Eventually, you're going to be surrounded by a saturated life of stagnation. And stagnant water smells. It looks gross. Nobody wants to be swimming in it. And eventually you are in the water like, why am I here? This is gross. How did I get here? It's because you didn't allow fresh water to flow through you. Then you will be looking at somebody else's life that allows fresh water to continuously flow through it. And you'll see that their life has this beautiful water that you want to swim in. Okay? You want to feel that water on your skin, and you want that for yourself. The secret is to just keep a flowing life. Keep new things coming in, old things coming out, new things coming in, old things coming out, new things coming in, old things coming in. That's how you keep your life from being stagnant. cycle. I talk about cycling in your mind. Well, you could cycle in your life too. You could just keep doing the same things over and over and over and over again, and wondering why you're never getting no new results because you're not trying anything new. Maybe you need to move over here. Maybe you need to move over here. You need the flow of life, though. That's what you need. You need a better flow of things. And if you don't understand how to do that, please question me. Question me. I would love to answer questions that you have, because I'm not making these videos purely for myself and to feel high about myself and things like that. I'm making these videos because a lot of people that see me in person have questions for me and wonder how I do all these things, and I'm an honest person and I'm a trustworthy person, and I honor those things about myself, so that I can continuously being an honest and trustworthy person, because I could easily just manipulate and obscure the things that people give to me and use it against them and all these things. I don't do that because that is low frequency people things to do. Now I want to operate on a higher frequency. And I want to welcome you to operate on a higher frequency. And I just want to keep encouraging you to go higher and higher with your life instead of settling and going lower and lower and doing low life things. You do not need a lot of money to have a quiet, luxurious life. Modern stewardship is a part of worshiping. It takes the mundane things in your life that the world has labeled as annoying and chaotic and all of these like negative thoughts and words attached to it, and I am trying to detach all of those things and show you that they are not negative things, that if you treat them as these positive things, they will create a beautiful life for you, and they will help your mindset think highly about things and change the negative worldly thoughts into a positive thoughts. And that's also why I created my book, Thoughts with Feelings, because thoughts have feelings. And I want to open your subconscious mind to a deeper thought process of those thoughts that go with feelings. It's self-published, self-made, so I don't have any hard copies available yet for purchase, but I do have a form of a digital copy that you will receive immediately upon purchase. And you're more than welcome to take screenshots and post them on your pages. I just hope that maybe you tag me to welcome others into the deeper thought process of life that I'm trying to open the door to. I hope today's video helps you grow this week and think differently and try new things for yourself. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.